Hey, what's going on, you guys? So I haven't posted in a little bit because there's been like 3 hurricanes that have come through this area. The most recent one, Milton, was like a direct hit on my home city, Sarasota. So, uh, yeah, just with everything going on, it's been hard to focus, especially on trying to put out content. So, I'm skipping the last week's lifts, or skipping like my week 4 lifts, and I'm gonna post my week 5 lifts with this video. Week 5 went well. Normally I have 4-week blocks. This block, just because of timing for the meet that I'm running, or the meet that I'm doing next, it made sense to add an additional week. Just to make it fit into the next block. Hit 2 all-time PRs on squat and bench, 550 double, which was nice, and a 375 bench single, also very nice, felt good. Yeah, so, and especially the fact that I was like dealing with a hurricane, going back and forth from here and Punta Gorda, stuff like that. Like it feels good to hit some big numbers. And now I'm officially, I think, like 4 weeks out from my next meet, 4 or 5 weeks. And I'm feeling good. I feel ready. I think it's time to get this over with, do this meet, and then take a little break, just kind of catch my breath. So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be good. So today, something that I wanted to talk about, aside from my training, was people have been talking to me about drug use in drug-tested sports, and they asked me questions, especially about powerlifting. One of the big questions is, are all the top athletes on steroids? And a big reason that people ask that is because if you look at Olympic sports, like Olympic weightlifting, sprinters and track and field, stuff like that, it's in the fitness community, it's kind of common knowledge that those guys are all pretty much on steroids. Now, people, ask me, do I think that all the top powerlifters are on steroids? And honestly, if you ask me, the guys who are at the top of USA Powerlifting, or Powerlifting America, or in the IPF affiliate divisions, federations, I don't think that they're on steroids. I think that the majority of them are not. There might be a couple who are, getting around the tests or whatever. But here's the thing. Most sports, Olympic sports especially, have only tested federations, right? There's not the option of going and doing tested versus untested, right? And also Olympic sports, everyone, wants to do the Olympic sports. Everyone wants to go to the Olympics, right? Every country wants to send their athletes to the Olympics. So what does that mean? Well, it means that athletes who want to do Olympic sports don't have the option of doing untested sports, right? They don't have the option of going into the untested weightlifting federation or the untested track and field federation, right? They can only do tested. And there's a precedent, that's been set pretty much since the invention of steroids, that everyone wants to get every advantage they can take, right? So pretty much since the Soviets started implementing steroids into their programs in the 1950s, it's pretty much been, everyone's trying to get a hold of that, right? Everyone wants to have every advantage they can. and they don't have the option to do otherwise, right? They don't have the option of going into an untested federation and just being open about their drug use, right? Whereas in powerlifting, right, or in bodybuilding as well, there are tested and untested federations. So for myself, I compete in a tested federation, USA Powerlifting, and they're pretty good. They're pretty rigorous with their drug testing protocols. It's a certain percentage of athletes, certain top percentage of athletes at local meets, and athletes, really exceptional athletes. I don't know what the cutoff is, but really good, strong athletes get tested randomly, year round. So, outside of meets, that is, and they get tested at meets, of course, if they do well. So, not that drug testing necessarily means drug-free, but if you look at the numbers, like for a lot of weight classes, the untested numbers are still higher than the tested numbers, right? For the most part. And the reason for that is because people who are untested, are taking anabolics. And generally speaking, it looks like the people who are tested are not taking anabolics. Again, that's not a 100%. I'm not saying that I know anything about what everyone is putting into their bodies. I only know myself. I only know what I'm doing to myself, right? And I know that I'm not taking steroids, but I don't know for certain that anybody else is not. However, I'm assuming, based off of what I can see, it's most likely that most of the top athletes in powerlifting are not taking anabolics. And then sometimes, I've been asked, like, why shouldn't I take anabolics if everyone at the top maybe is taking anabolics, or something like that. And that is an interesting question. I understand, where people are coming from with that idea of, taking every advantage you can get, right? And I do think that within reason, you should, take every advantage that you can, right? So using supplements, using the best equipment, things like that. The problem is that when you get to a point where you're taking anabolics just because you think that someone else might be, you're kind of starting or setting up that situation to happen. If you think, okay, well, everyone's on steroids, so I'll take steroids, well, then everyone's going to end up taking steroids. Everyone's going to end up cheating, and we're going to end up with, Olympic sports 2.0. And I think that's just sad. Also, I think it's just sad that, as an athlete, you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, everybody else is taking it, so I might as well, in a sport that has tested versus untested. Like, if you want to take anabolics, you can go do untested powerlifting or untested bodybuilding. You know what I mean? Like, that is an option. So why would you, when there's the option, like, why would you stay in tested powerlifting if you're going to do anabolics? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you have the option to go and be with other people who are doing what you're doing, right? And also, a lot of those federations, that are untested, they generally try to do more money meets. I know that the USAPL is trying to do, more money meets, trying to bring more money into the sport, but it's hard. It's hard for any federation. So, if you're going to be someone who can be really great, if you just were willing to, jab a needle in your butt, you're more likely to earn money and get sponsorships that way, just being one of the best out there. So why would you stay in the tested federation if you could go untested and, be open? I don't know. It just seems silly to me that everyone is, so concerned about, anabolics and, you know, whatever other performance enhancing drugs in tested sports, especially sports that offer tested versus untested. When it comes down to it, it's, you know, just about being honest and honorable. You know, like, if you're going to be in a sport like powerlifting or bodybuilding where you have the option to go into untested, but you know, are doing drugs in a tested federation, like, honestly, you're a slimy, you know, person. You're disgusting. Like, you know, and I mean, that's not to say that if you're doing something like you're taking hardcore stimulants that are not allowed in competition, but you know, aren't tested for outside of that, like, you know, that's different. Like, if you're someone who wants to do something, you know, that has very short-term effects like stimulants, and you're like, you just want to get that ephedrine or something, and use that for one training session because it's a really hard day or whatever, you know, that's different. You know what I mean? Like, that's just one training session, and it's not going to make you tremendously stronger. As long as you're not doing anything stupid on the day of the meet or outside of the gym even. You know, that's different. But taking anabolics, you know, it's cheating, you know what I mean? Like, and you know it. Now, in other sports like track and fields, or Olympic weightlifting, where everyone at the top actually is confirmed on steroids, you know, everyone has been popped, you know, at least once, then that's different. You know, at that point, everyone is actually doing it at the top. If you want to make it and you want to go to the Olympics, I get it. That's fine. You don't have the option of doing untested yet. So I understand. But in a sport like powerlifting or bodybuilding where you have the option of doing untested, just do untested and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Anyway, that's my video. I know it was a little bit more of a rant than normal. But I'll see you guys in the next one.